Hello everybody, welcome back to another video from Maryland Political Predictions. Before we get into it, remember to subscribe. We're going to try and get 1.5 thousand soon. And welcome to today's video. Today we will be talking about recent polling for the 2028 Democratic primary. So we are several years away from any candidates will even enter the race. But we have some polls to talk about, so we'll start with that. And the Republican one will come out tomorrow because we're doing daily uploads for basically the entire summer. So yeah. Okay. So 2028 Democratic primary polls, the site is racetothewh.com, so you can go there if you want to see any more polls. But yeah, Kamala Harris, she has sustained a big lead ever since the election. Well, the thing is here, Kamala Harris, she has the name recognition, and that is why she is up. She may not even run in 2028. It's just like what happened to Hillary Clinton, actually, after 2016. She was leading in polling for months until she dropped out. No, well, she just dropped in polling when people actually started to know other candidates, and the honeymoon for Kamala Harris and then what happened for Hillary Clinton will be over. And we've already started to see that. Kamala Harris is tumbling. And we're seeing candidates like Pete Buttigieg, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Gavin Newsom. They are rising. They're having events. They're putting themselves out there. And they're trying to separate themselves from the rest of the crowd and bring what Kamala Harris couldn't to the table. All right. So there's been a couple recent polls, but let's first go to Wikipedia and see some candidates, right? So, Wikipedia, they have this section where it says expressed interest. There's people like Pete Buttigieg, where I'm extremely certain that he will run. He's not running for Michigan governor. He's not running for Michigan Senate. And I doubt that he's retiring from politics at such a young age. So Pete Buttigieg is basically confirmed to run for president. Then there's more smaller names like Rahm Emanuel, Gina Raimondo. But you have some media personalities like Stephen A. Smith. We scroll down, you also get people like, Jon Stewart. Not on Wikipedia, but his name is circling around. And then you get more politically identified names. You get people like Tim Walz. You get people like Cory Booker, Andy Beshear. All of these. So a lot of interesting names here, ranging from all parts of the country, ranging from all parts of the political spectrum. And let's just go through these. Andy Beshear, Cory Booker. Cory Booker, he's had that news. He's been in the spotlight for a short time. That kind of boosted him in polling. You see, it was in, I think, March when he gave, in April, when he gave that speech. Before then, he was polling at 2%. And then he skyrocketed to 8%, 9%. At one point, his height was basically at 8.9%. And then you see that, right? And then people like Gavin Newsom, the LA riots, things like that. He's putting himself out there. You get people like Tim Walz, and he was up here, right? Tim Walz, the act of political violence we saw just a week ago, around a week ago, and then Tim Walz was able to put himself out there. So it's really this year before people actually start entering the race, it's all about who gets the most media attention, right? Because there's no clear successor. Kamala Harris definitely didn't pick a clear successor when she lost the election. So it's all about who's going to be able to put themselves out there. And then, there's an interesting state map, but obviously this doesn't really matter yet. Okay. But, we've seen Kamala Harris, at one point she was at 40%, miles above the other candidates, but now you can see she's been tumbling. Now let's get into the individual polling. So first I want to talk about the Atlas Intel poll. Atlas Intel was the most accurate, the best pollster from the 2024 election cycle. They were just 0.2% off from the official 2024 presidential popular vote results. So, just saying. And Pete Buttigieg was winning in that poll with 32%. And something that's interesting is Buttigieg, he actually hasn't gotten that much media attention. But one thing that he has done, he's already starting to tour the country because an advantage that he has above other candidates, people like Gavin Newsom, people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, people like Josh Shapiro, people like Tim Walz, he does not hold a political position. He has so much free time to tour the country, to meet with voters. And Pete Buttigieg, he's using that to his advantage. He's meeting in Iowa. He's holding events all over the country. And this is months ahead registration for, because like Donald Trump, he announced his entry into the 2024 primaries right after the midterms, and that was extremely early. So we're like over a year before any candidates will actually come in, and Pete Buttigieg is already going around the country meeting with possible primary voters, and he's getting stuff done. Anyways, so this is, I think, one of the first times that Kamala Harris was losing in a poll. And remember, Alice Intel, their first poll also had Pete Buttigieg winning. That was back in April, and he won with 28% by 4 points against Kamala Harris. Now, he wins with 32%, and Kamala Harris actually loses her second place to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. So yeah, that's just very interesting. And Gavin Newsom, he surged in the recent two polls. He was polling around 4%, 7%, 5%, 8%. And then with the LA riots in early June, on June 13th to 15th, by the Morning Consult poll, and then he surged from 7%, to 11%. And then this newest poll from Coefficient, he surged to 21%. And that's just, very, very interesting. And then you have all these other candidates. I'm sure in a year or two, maybe half a year, we will definitely get a much, much better view. And there's just so many candidates here. But from early polling, if we just keep completely disregard Kamala Harris, because, this is the same point where Hillary Clinton was in 2020 primary polling after she lost in 2016. Kamala Harris, we can basically disregard her. The only chance she has to win the Democratic primary in 2028 is if she becomes California governor in 2026, and then she keeps getting media attention, but I doubt that will happen. So right now, it seems like it's going to be between Pete Buttigieg, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and Gavin Newsom. Cory Booker, his time, it kind of faded off. He dropped in the recent poll. In the most recent poll, he was only at, let's see. Oh, he wasn't even included in the recent poll, or he got 0%. So, very interesting. And we will check out the Republican primary polling in the next video. I hope you enjoyed this. Remember to subscribe and drop a like down below. And thank you for watching. Goodbye.